My ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond. My name is Dorian from Group82University.com, BasketballCEO.com, and basketball is a love language for me. The real reason college basketball coaches get hired. Last episode, I talked about the real reason college basketball coaches get fired. You ain't listened to watch that, go listen and watch that one. A lot of great insight in there. I'm going to tell you why they really get hired. College basketball coaching is not the traditional coaching process, not the traditional application process. These jobs do get posted on websites. You'll see them on Indeed. You'll see them on whatever job boards they have now for sports jobs. They're all over. But once a job is already posted, everyone in the industry knows if it's posted, it's already filled. My job at Jacksonville, I got as director of basketball operations. They posted the job 2 days after I had already started. I already had moved in. I already had started working. I already had been there. I already had gear. I was already there. But legally, they had to post a job because, the opening was there. Since these are state schools and educational institutions, they have to post open jobs. But the process to get hired happens way before that. And it happens when the other person who's in the position is still there. It rarely happens when the person gets fired. You rarely have these administrations and these head coaches that are searching to replace people on their staff while that person isn't there. They do it while the person is there. Could happen years before. And this is how the process actually goes down. The first way that college basketball coaches actually get hired is through search firms. What's a search firm? Anytime these massive Fortune 500 companies, these publicly traded companies need to hire a COO, a CEO, a CMO, a CTF, a CTO, a CFO. There's a chief people officer now, a CPO. Anytime they need to hire a massive executive, that's a huge decision because you're going to be hiring somebody who's going to be making a seven-figure, if not eight-figure salary. You're going to be hiring somebody who's going to get stock options and equity in this company. You're going to be hiring somebody who's going to be leading a team of hundreds, if not thousands of people. And you're going to be hiring somebody who's going to have to speak to stakeholders on earnings calls. They're going to have to hop on CNBC. They're going to speak to the Wall Street Journal. They are going to be an ambassador for your brand. They're going to be people-facing. So you got to get these hires right. There's an entire industry that is based around getting these hires right. Just like if you want to get hired as an insurance sales rep, if you go to a job fair, any job fair or any college campus in the country, there's probably somebody there from Allstate or State Farm or something that's trying to hire someone through the recruiting medium. And I have a homeboy, I got friends I went to college with, they're actually twin brothers, Darren and Devin Chapman, and they actually have their own recruiting service where they help these companies fill these voids because you always need to be hiring sales reps and people at these insurance companies. So I have insight into that. And so that industry not only is at the insurance level or at, the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year level, that industry where people need help with these hires is also at the $8, $9, $10 million a year level. And so basketball coaches fall right into that. When you hire a basketball coach, especially if you're at a Power 6 program, and Power 6 this is the ACC, the Big East, the Big 10, the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the SEC. And the reason I hesitate, I'm thinking about the Pac-12, they might be out of it now. In football, you always hear about Power 5, and in basketball, it's Power 6, because the Big East don't really do nothing with football like that. So these coaches are going to be making a lot of money. These coaches are going to be ambassadors for the school. These coaches are going to be ambassadors for the program. So you have to make sure that you get this hire right. So that's why presidents and administrators and athletic directors, when they want to go hire a basketball coach, they want to go hire a football coach, they go to these search firms the same way that these Fortune 500 companies do. One of the search firms that is active in these hiring processes for not only for head coaches and assistant coaches at the collegiate level, but they also do this with front office execs in the NBA level, is Modern Executive Solutions. And they have an entire sports and entertainment arm. And guess who the senior partner is for their sports and entertainment arm at Modern Executive Solutions? It's a guy named Billy King. If you go look up Billy King's history, Billy King went to Duke. Billy King played at Duke, if I'm not mistaken. Billy King is someone who was inside of the Duke basketball family. And Billy King also has worked in the front office of NBA teams. So now he is someone that's able to give insight to these people that are used to dealing and hiring executives at Amex and at Delta and at Coinbase and at Robinhood, all these publicly traded companies. They're also Billy King's able to give insight. Hey, if you want to hire a coach at Northwestern, this is what you probably should look for. And I know a guy, Chris Collins. Hey, if you want to hire a coach for the Utah Jazz G League team, you probably should have a guy that does this, and that's why you should hire Steve Wojciechowski, all these people that also went to Duke. So when you are someone who's trying to get a Power 6 job, you're trying to be a head coach, you have to get in good with search firms. And there's a myriad of ways to do that. The easiest way to do that, we're going to talk about a little bit later with another one, the options, or another one, the pathways to get a job. But if you can meet somebody who works these search firms, you have people at these companies that are getting hired by these search firms, see whatever search firm is out there that you're hearing for people in your social circle, for people that get hired in that. See if these search firms have a sports entertainment arm. See who's in charge of that sports entertainment arm. See who's the senior partner. See who's the one that's out there actually doing the legwork. And when you can develop relationships with those people, that's going to put you in a position, a pole position, or at least at the front of the line to get a Power 6 job. Number two, how most college basketball coaches actually get hired is through their basketball family. Y'all have heard me talk about this in previous episodes. I've talked about the Duke basketball family that's led by Coach K. You have the UCLA basketball family that's not really led by anybody right now, but UCLA is just such a strong brand. You know, it's always going to be people from the West Coast that are into basketball, and they're going to matriculate through all aspects of the basketball ecosystem. You got the Villanova basketball family that's led by Jay Wright. You have these basketball families where there's a patriarch who's usually a successful national championship winning head coach. And what he does is he places his staff members, his players in other places, so therefore it expands the entire network, so it helps anyone who comes to this basketball family. This also exists inside of the NBA as well. You look at the Miami Heat and Pat Riley. Pat Riley is a patriarch for that basketball family with the Miami Heat. Look at their continuity. Look at the success they had. Look at their ability to acquire free agents. It's not just because of no state taxes down there in Florida and because of South Beach. Of course, those are assets that Miami has that some other places don't. But it's also because of the stability that they have within their organization. Also, San Antonio Spurs. You look at Greg Pop. They have a basketball family. And if you go look at the San Antonio Spurs basketball operations internship program and all the people that have came up through that, these guys have went and became GMs and became scouts or whatnot. One notable one that a lot of y'all might know if you're basketball fans is the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam Presti. He's been there since 2007. He got hired as a GM when he was with the Seattle Supersonics. He started off as a basketball operations intern and worked his way up and be basketball operations intern with the San Antonio Spurs and worked his way up. The Seattle Supersonics hired him as a GM. I think he was 31 years old when he got hired, and now he's a GM of the Thunder. He's been there the entire time. So when you have a basketball family that you're a part of, that's going to help you. And this is something that a lot of young coaches or even older coaches or people that are inside of the basketball ecosystem need to understand. You have to attach yourself to a family. And even if you don't think you belong to a family, you do belong to a family. Whatever team you're on, whatever name you're wearing across your chest, whatever coach is recruiting you or who you're going to put down as your letter of recommendation or who's going to be your references, that is the guy who you're going to be branded as. So make sure that you put yourself into a basketball family that has a lot of branches, that has a lot of resources, that has a lot of relationships, so that way you have a lot of options to get hired. And the third way that college basketball coaches get hired, and I mentioned this a little bit in the first section, is through agents. Agents are the people that can walk in whatever basketball room, whatever business room, whatever social room without people asking, why are you here? I'm an agent. I'm here for everybody. I'm here to help everybody. And agents are usually how coaches get involved with search firms, which is the first section, the first notice that we talked about. So if you are someone who wants to get hired, you got to have a great agent. And that's just not for Power 6 coaches. This is for assistant coaches as well. This is for basketball operations guys. This is for video coordinators. And in some cases, even for GAs. You got to have someone who works with an agency, who is inside of an agency, because they have relationships with everybody inside the basketball ecosystem, and that's just only going to help you get to the front of the line. If you are trying to be a free agent out here, you trying to be an orphan out here, you think people just going to get you a job based on your basketball merit, it ain't going to work like that. I was just watching the clip on Instagram with Rich Kleiman, who handles essentially all of Kevin Durant's off-the-court business. When Kevin Durant is on the court, that's what Rich Kleiman is for him off the court. And Rich Kleiman was talking about how he didn't have a bachelor's degree, how he didn't go to law school, how he doesn't have any of the traditional background that people think you need to get in this. And he said something so poignant. He said, if you want to get in businesses like this, sports and music, you have to understand that there's no direct pathway, and there's so many people that have untraditional backgrounds getting into it. And that couldn't be any more true. Like, if you look at everything that I'm doing, like, yes, I went through the traditional coaching background when I was going through coaching. But even with that, I wasn't a 4-year manager. I wasn't a former player. My dad didn't own a team or nothing like that. Like, I had to get in being a volunteer Division II assistant coach, and I had to go be basically a volunteer at Montverde for 2 years. They gave me somewhere to live the second year, and then I had to go and become a graduate assistant at VCU, even though I already had a master's degree, before I got my salary job at Jacksonville as director of basketball operations, making $22,000 a year. But that's how I got in. And if you look at the stuff that I do now, like, I charted #1 on iTunes with my own music, marketing it myself, my own rap album. I got 500,000 social media followers. I got 500 million views on YouTube. On all social media platforms. And now I'm bringing all of this together to be an agent. I'm bringing all this together to be a consultant. I'm bringing all this together to give people this knowledge that my parents didn't have, my teammates didn't have, other coaches didn't have, that I didn't have, that can help you get ahead. And that's why I'm in the position that I'm in, where people listen to me and I have value and I have these relationships still in the world of basketball. There's no aptitude test. There's no major for basketball. Even though we have an entire episode that talks about what high schoolers should do if they want to get a job once they graduate, where you essentially can major in basketball when you're in college, but that doesn't exist. It's sports marketing and management, which is being taught by business people who just happen to like sports because they can't understand deep business concepts, so they can't teach in the school of business. But they really ain't telling you how to get busy inside of this. You have to have relationships, and you got to put yourself in a position to have relationships. And for me, that position was working camps, was working clinics, was going to summer league, was working in schools, living in cities I never heard of, towns with one stoplight, eating Thanksgiving dinner with people one year who I didn't even know the year prior for 5 years in a row. Like, that's the sacrifice that I had to make to be in this position that I am now, to have these relationships where if I wanted to go be a college assistant coach, I could do that right now. If I wanted to go be a high school or AAU head coach in a Nike EYBL program, I could do that right now. If I want to start representing NBA clients, once I get my license, it's not going to be long before I get clients. If I wanted to go be a general manager of a college basketball team like UCLA, if I got in front of Martin, the athletic director, I'm pretty sure we will work on something where I will at least be consulting them. And if you put me in the front office of as a general manager of an NBA team, I guarantee you I'm better than 95% of the front office guys in there right now. Them dudes can't even break down film, let alone understand the entire basketball ecosystem and scout at the level that I do. But the reason I have all these experiences is because I put myself in that position. I did everything I possibly could to get these life experiences, to get this knowledge, to fine-tune these skills that I have. And now that's why I was able to get as many basketball jobs that I did. And that's why I have the options that I have now. So for anyone who's looking to get hired, high school, AAU, college, NBA, whatever it is, you have to be able to build your own network, and that comes through hard work. That's the only way I know how to do it. But you have to have guidance, because you might waste a lot of time doing stuff that might not get you somewhere. You know, there's a lot of things that I did. I'm like, I shouldn't have did that. Like one thing I look back on, like when I was at Montverde coaching those 2 years, we didn't have a great relationship with the AAU programs in our area, you know, and that ain't got nothing to do with me. It wasn't my program. I was assistant coach. It is what it is. We didn't have a terrible relationship, but it wasn't a great relationship. But when I got to VCU and I saw on Will Wade's not even dresser, you know, like the filing cabinet that has the magnets and, you know, can put stuff up there. So he had it up there with like all his tapes and stuff. And up there, he had the list of everybody he had to call during the week, and he had to emphasize who he wanted to call. And at the top of that list was AAU coaches. And at the bottom of that list was high school coaches. And I realized at that time, like, man, I should have coached AAU, because when I was coaching at Montverde, Austin Rivers was the #1 player in the country. He was right there in Orlando. They were our biggest rivals, Montverde and Winter Park at that time. And the coach, Austin Rivers, AAU coach, his name's TJ, Therian Joseph. And Winter Park, anybody know TJ, you know that's how he talked. And TJ was, I don't know where he really coached at, but he was just the AAU guy for Each One Teach One at that time. That was Amari Stoudemire's Florida Nike EYBL team at the time. And TJ wanted one of our players, Steve Mondumisi, who ended up going to Harvard. And he wanted Steve for this last year of AAU with Austin because they were the same class, and Steve was a phenomenal rebounder. So TJ kept coming to Montverde. He was talking to Sutton, talking to me, and whoop-de-whoop. And so eventually we let Steve do it. But I think about at that time, what I should have done is I should have told TJ, hey, man, I'm about to come. I got to be an assistant coach. If you want Steve, I got to be an assistant. Because I was in grad school. I was coaching at Montverde. Our season was over. But I didn't want to seem like I was trying to be an AAU guy. But I should have been an AAU guy and attached to one of the best 17s, EYBL went around at that time like that, but that's why I keep doing this. It was EYBL programs at that time, because that would have elevated me to a higher level in my basketball career, and when it gave me more equity and more currency in my basketball Rolodex, because now not only am I a coach at Montverde, I'm actually a coach with Each One Teach One. We got Austin Rivers and Steve Mondumisi and Brad Comer and Trevor Lacey, all these guys that went on to be Division I players. So put yourself in these positions where you're able to build your portfolio inside of your basketball network. That's going to help you get the jobs that you want. If you need help organizing, doing that, help putting it together, if you need help with relationships, visit basketballceo.com, get on our email list, hit me up. Me and you can rap about something. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true. For the love now.